Hey guys, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build out this two-part automation system. I'm calling it the RSS Feed to Carousel image post. This is just version 1, and I'm actually really excited to share with you guys. So these are the type of images that we're trying to create. We're pulling from an RSS feed or multiple RSS feeds. We're gathering all of those articles, picking like the top 3 or the top 5, repurposing those into our own text. So a headline text with slide text as well for 3 different slides for further information, and then also a caption with relevant hashtags to go along with it. So we're repurposing those articles and we're storing everything in an Airtable database. This is the 2-part automation in make.com. So this is part 1 where we're grabbing the RSS feeds, we're choosing the top articles, and then we're writing the carousel post. So the headline, the slide text, all of that stuff. And then we are storing that, or we're creating records in Airtable and just sending us a notification in email. And then the second part automation is this beast right here. Don't be too intimidated looking at this monster right here. It only looks big because of these error handlers right here. So when I'm adding these error handlers and hitting auto align, everything just gets spread out and it looks massive. It's nothing too scary. I'm gonna walk you guys all the way through it. The whole point of this system is to make it as easy as possible for me to pump out this kind of content, these carousel image posts on the latest news for my audience. So as soon as we have everything set up, I'm just gonna be hopping into Airtable, going over to the actions column, and chances are the first round, it's gonna be great. I like the text in the headline and all of the slides and the caption. If not, I can choose from this column of action items. So rewrite all, rewrite headline, rewrite the caption, or slide 1, 2, 3, rewrite all of the slides. I'm also able to create the images. We're using a tool called Placid for this. So if once I like everything in the text, I can just say create all images. It goes through, pulls from our library of templates that we have right here, picks the best one. I can also regenerate any of the images that I don't like, and then I can either post now or schedule the post for later on my Instagram. So it's as easy as just a few clicks for me. Here's the roadmap for you guys. So I just went over the overview really quick. The tools that we are going to use for this are make.com first and foremost, Airtable, Placid, OpenAI, and Canva, which is optional. Let me show you the Airtable setup. This is our Airtable base. I'm not gonna set everything up with you on this video, but I will walk you through some of these columns and how I have them configured, like these button columns right here, how to configure them and so on and so forth. So just diving right into it, we've got these 4 tables. First, this is your base. The whole thing is your Airtable base. It's the spreadsheet. So like Google Sheets, you've got your big spreadsheet with all of the sheets down below. Just like that, these are all of your sheets. In Airtable, we call them tables. So these are all of our tables that we're working with. We have the content table. We have the RSS feeds table where we can add as many RSS feeds as we wish. We also have the Placid Templates table. This one's huge. And one of the most important tables is our AI Prompts table, where we're storing all of our AI prompts to pull from and map dynamically into our workflow in make.com. So our 2-part workflow in make.com, we're pulling these constantly and feeding these AI prompts to our AI assistants. If you guys want any of these blueprints or templates, so the Airtable database, if you just want to copy and paste that over into your organization, or if you want the make.com blueprints, right? I have those available for you guys in the AWA Pro community. I have the link for you guys in my bio. Come check it out. This is where I have all of my content. So in the classroom, you're going to find a make.com pro course. This is beginner to advanced tutorials. By the very end, you're going to know everything make.com, as well as an OpenAI Pro course. And right here is my full template library. So if we click into this, we can see what templates are in progress. We can see any ones that we have planned. You can vote on any. And then these are all of my templates that I have. So I've got auto-generate YouTube thumbnails, RSS to WordPress articles. I have the resource files down below, the blueprints that you can just copy and paste on over to save you guys time. Or if you want to learn, you can watch how I build everything out from scratch on these full breakdown tutorial videos right here. So back in Airtable, let me just show you guys how I have everything configured. In the content table right here, I have the project column. I have the status column right here. The statuses are pending, in progress, scheduled, published, or error. The actions column right here, these are all of our action items. So rewrite all, rewrite the headline, rewrite caption, rewrite slide 1, 2, 3, rewrite all slides, create all images, regenerate featured image, regenerate all slide images, regenerate all images, and then post now and schedule post. In the next column over, we have the publish date. If we're wanting to schedule our post on a certain day, we can schedule the date there. And then this is where our buttons to view our images appear. So we have the featured image, slide 1, 2, 3, and then we also have the text for the headline, the text for each slide right here, as well as the caption right here in the captions column. I'll come back to these columns right here, these buttons. We're also going to be pasting in the original article text right here and the original article URL if we ever need for future reference. We have a category because we're going to be categorizing these. We have the RSS feed name, where the articles are coming from. We also have an error message column. If our make scenarios in the background ever break, we can reference this column to see what went wrong. The remaining columns, so featured image URL, slide 1 image URL, all of these slide URLs, these are from Placid. So when we're making API calls to Placid to generate our images, so the featured images and slide images, we're going to be mapping in their image URLs right here. And these are the columns that we're referencing for our button columns. And I'll show you guys how to do that in just a sec. Lastly, we've got the last featured image template ID that was used and the last slide template ID that was used. Some of this may sound confusing, but as we get into this build and just start building it out, you guys are going to see where all of these pieces fit. And then of course the Airtable record ID right here. And I'm just using a function right here for this Airtable record ID just to show it, right? You select, give it a name, select formula, and then you're just typing in record ID right here. It'll show up for you guys. Close parentheses and then hit save. So every new record, you're gonna see their record ID appear right there. As for our button columns, so featured image, let's take this one for example. I'm giving it a name. I'm labeling it. So on the label itself, it's gonna say featured image. You can change the style right here. And then the action is going to be open URL, and this is the URL formula. You're just doing this. Let me delete this, open curly brace. And what field, what column do you want to reference? We want to reference the featured image URL. We're going to paste that in right there, hit save, and we're good. Now, anytime a URL appears in that URL column, this button will appear for us to be able to click it. And this just makes it look neat, clean, organized. In my opinion, it's a lot better than just looking at this really busy URL. It makes it look neat, clean, and organized. We have these different fields that we'll get into at the end of the video just to show you our scheduled posts and published posts. And we have everything filtered in this column, and I'll go over the filters later on in the video as well. The next table or the next sheet, right? This is the RSS feeds table, and I only have 2 RSS feeds that I'm pulling from. One is on just general AI news, one is on OpenAI news. I can set the status to inactive to pull it out of the workflow so that it doesn't get referenced, or change it back to active if I want to throw it back into the workflow. And then I'm pasting in the RSS feed URLs right here. I'm giving it a note just about RSS feed, and then this one, maximum number of returned items. I'll come back to that when we start building out part 1 of the make.com scenario. This Placid Templates table, this is where we're pasting in all of our Placid templates. So we're generating these templates beforehand in Placid, we're creating them, and then we're mainly just referencing these 2 columns right here in the part 2 scenario. All of this will make sense when we start building that out. Again, with the status over here, you can pull certain templates out of rotation. So if you want to keep them in your database, great, but you don't want to use them for any future posts, you can just switch the status to inactive and it will no longer be fed through the system. And then these 2 columns over here, I'll get into that when we're building out part 2. AI prompts, this is probably the most important tables. When we're initially writing our posts for the headline, the slides, and the caption, we're using this AI prompt right here. You can expand this. You can see the entire prompt right here with its associated JSON schema because we want our AI assistants to sometimes follow these outputs right here, and we're going to parse that. Again, that's going to make sense when we start building out the make.com part 1 scenario in just 1 second. I have some notes over here on the side just to help me remember what each prompt is used for. I have these categories because I'm going to categorize these posts, and then 2 other AI prompts down below. So that's it. It's nothing fancy. As for the type, I just have them categorized into these. So first write is just 1. Any rewrites that are done, I'm categorizing it as a rewrite. If I'm rewriting everything, so the headline, the slides, all of that stuff, I'm categorizing that as rewrite all, category, and then other. Cool, so that's the Airtable setup. Again, if that makes no sense to you guys, that's totally fine. Don't worry, it's gonna make sense as we start building. So let's start building out part 1 of our make.com scenario. Head to make.com. If you need help connecting any of the apps that we're using in these workflows, so like for example, OpenAI, or connecting your Gmail account to make.com, then you can reference the files and resource links down below. We're gonna give it a name. I'm naming mine RSS to carousel post. Actually, let me change that to RSS feed to carousel image post dash demo. And the first module we're going to add is an Airtable search records module. Go ahead and select your base table. We're going to reference the RSS feeds table. So this table right here is what we're referencing to grab these records. The view doesn't matter all that much for this use case. And then as for the formula, this is what we're going to do. So open curly brace. We're going to say grab every single record where the status is equal to active. So this guy right here. Grab all of the records where this status column is equal to active. And to do that, we're saying status, close curly brace, equal to, open quotation, active, close quotation. So where the status is equal to active, grab all of those records. Limit, I'm going to delete that because it doesn't matter for this use case. Hit save, right click, run once. And let's take a look. It should grab two. So we see the OpenAI RSS feed and the AI RSS feed. And let's rename these. Get RSS feeds. The next module we want to add is Airtable search records. And we're going to get our AI prompts now. So search for the AI prompts table in your correct base. Output fields, select all. Delete the limit. And we're not going to do any formula for this one. We just want to grab all of the records in this AI prompts table right here. This guy right here. So if we run this again, we can see we're getting all of our AI prompts right here now. So we should have 11 because there's 11 records. And because there's two bundles of information right here in the first module, we're getting two outputs right here. We do want that for this first module, but this guy output 11 bundles. We don't want to process 11 different bundles through the workflow. So we're going to be aggregating all of that stuff. We're going to add the array aggregator, pick our source module as this guy right here, and then select all of these fields right here. So going down the list, just checking those guys on. You don't need to grab any of these output fields right here and then hit save. I'm going to name that aggregate AI prompts and let's move on. Next thing we want to do is we want to add the RSS retrieve RSS feed items module. In the URL field, we're going to grab from the very first module, we're going to grab this RSS feed URL variable right there. Date from, the way that I'm going to set it up for me personally, I'm going to grab all of the articles, the latest articles from the previous 3 days. So to do that, I'm using this function, the add days function. I'm mapping in the now variable, semicolon -3 days. So from now and 3 days ago, all of that, grab all of that content. Date 2, I'm just going to insert now. And the maximum number of returned items. Do you guys remember that when we were going over our Airtable right here, maximum number of returned items in this column right here. So you can read right here in this description that I've set right here. So it sets how many posts to grab from the RSS feed each time that it runs. So for example, if it's set to 5, it's only going to fetch the 5 latest posts. I'm using a tool called rss.app for these RSS feeds. And I think the maximum limit is 25 by default. So I'm just setting this to 25 and I'm just mapping in that variable right there, maximum number of returned items. Hit save. So if we run this, let's go ahead and run this once and see what it outputs. So for bundle 1, we got 25 different articles to work with. We're not going to be feeding all of that content through our system because that would just be way expensive. It would eat up a ton of operations and it would just be overwhelming for us. It would now defeat the purpose of having us go into our Airtable base and going through, 50 articles every 3 days to see which ones that we like best, right? If you want to do that, great. I'm just going to delegate that task to AI and prompt it to be like, hey, here are all of our articles that we're working with. This is my target audience. Pick the top 3 or the top 5 and then push those through. In order to do that, we need to add what's called a text aggregator module. So text aggregator right there. The source module is going to be this RSS feed module. And then here is our text. We're doing title, description, ID, and URL. As for the title, we're just going to map in our variables. So title, description, ID, and then the URL itself. Hit advanced settings, so toggle that guy on. The row separator is going to be new row. And let me just return one more time. Hit save, run once. I'm going to ignore all of these warnings, run anyway, and let's take a look and see how it outputs. So we can take all of the input articles and it outputs in one big long string of text. So we've got the first one, title, description, the ID and the URL, and then title, description, ID, URL. And it just goes on through all 25. We're going to be feeding this long string of text to our AI assistant. I'm going to rename this guy aggregate articles and details. The next module is OpenAI create a completion. I'm going to delete the max tokens. The model that I'm going to select for this use case is GPT-4o Mini. It's the cheapest option available right now when I'm making this video at the end of February of 2025. And yesterday, OpenAI just announced GPT 4.5, which is available in the API. So we're seeing that right here, but it is super duper expensive to use. We're not going to use that. So GPT 4o Mini right there. And then we're going to map in our AI prompt. So we're not going to type anything really in this field. We're just going to be pulling from our AI prompts table and mapping that in dynamically right here. Message is going to be user, and we're going to be using some functions right here. We're going to be using the get map functions together for this use case, and I came up with this guide for you guys. If you guys want this, go ahead and hop into the community. I have all of these files for you guys just to make your lives as simple as possible. I remember when I first got into AI automation and started building out stuff in make.com, I got so overwhelmed by the get and map functions, especially when you combine them together. It made no sense to me, so I made this as easy for you guys to follow as possible. The get function is grabbing the item that you want to get, which is B, from the array. So get B from A. So from A, I want B, in other words. From A, I want B. The map function is doing kind of the same thing, but it's outputting another array. So it's kind of like a filter step. So here it is. From this array, I want item B where C is equal to D. So you can follow this equation right here. From A, I want B where C is equal to D. This is going to be very, very helpful if you guys memorize this stuff. Always remember that the output of the map function is going to be an array, which is why we can map if this is equal to an array. This equation right here is just outputting another array. We can plug this guy inside of the get function in this A field right here, which is also an array. So get map from this and then mapped out array right there. I want to grab B. That's what we're going to be doing right here. So this is what it looks like. So get map function together. So get from this new array, which is just our map function, from A, I want to get B. Now here's where that relates to this use case. Back in make.com, this is what we're going to do. First, let's just do the map function. So ignore the get function right now. So we're going to type map, open parentheses, and then we want to grab from our AI prompts array, these aggregated AI prompts from this array. So we're going to map that in right there. From this AI prompts array, semicolon, I want to grab B. So where is B? What do we want to grab? We want to grab the AI prompt itself. In our AI prompts table in Airtable, I want to grab this guy right here. I want to grab the prompt column. I want to grab this field where the name is equal to what? If it's still not making sense, that's totally fine. We're going to be doing a lot of this stuff through this whole entire build. So with lots of repetition and practice, by the end, you should be fairly comfortable with it. Let's hit the drop down arrow on our array right here. So map from this array, I want to grab B. I want to get the prompt, remember? This is what I want. I'm not going to map in the variable. I'm going to hover over this, and you can see that the raw name, the raw value for the prompt field variable is also prompt. Sometimes this isn't the case. For example, if I hover over total number of bundles right here, it does not match. You can see that the raw value is actually this underscore underscore IMT length underscore underscore. That's the value that we want to map in. So if we hover over prompt, sometimes they match up exactly, sometimes they don't. So you just want to be careful with that. So from the prompt, or from that array, I want the prompt, semicolon, where the name right here, hover over the name field. Again, the raw value equals name. So name, semicolon, is equal to what? Meaning, what prompt do I want to grab? I want to get this guy right here. Choose top articles from RSS feed. So I'm just going to copy this value right there. Choose top articles from RSS feed. Go back to make.com, and I'm actually going to paste in that text right there. And then close that function off with a parentheses. So this returns an array. Now, because this is an array, I want to actually have the AI prompt itself. This is where the get function comes into play. So before the map function, we're going to do get, open parentheses, get from this array, this whole thing that we just did in the map function, that's an array. From this array, semicolon. I want to get what? I want to get the first item. So you can see in the notes up here, the first item in an array is index 1. So we're just going to be typing in 1, close parentheses, like that. And that is our getMap function. Hopefully that made some more sense to you guys. Again, this resource that I have for you guys, I'll be sure to include in the resource files in the community. It's really, really helpful. So this whole function is going to return this guy right here, all of this text right here. Now we need to add a message. Let's go ahead and add this one. It's going to be another user role. And the text, we want to give context, select the top 3 articles basically, because that's what our prompt is in this AI prompt. We're saying based on the provided titles, descriptions, URLs for each article, select the top 3 articles that are most relevant to my audience. And then I have all of the rest of the prompt right here, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to say article titles, descriptions, IDs, URLs, and then map in that long string of text from this text aggregator right there. Now we want it as a JSON output, and we want to parse that. So we're going to toggle on show advanced settings, and then change the response format to JSON object, and then parse the JSON response as yes, and hit save. Rename, choose top articles. Let's hit save, run this once, and see what it outputs. So currently it's taking that long string of text and selecting the top 3 articles and outputting their URLs basically. So we can take a look now that it finished. We should see that our result is in the top articles array, perfect, and we have all of these items right here. So we grabbed the title, the description, the URL, and the category. We also categorized it in this step as well. And just looking at these categories, they don't match up the AI categories right here. So general, is it general, breaking news, or tools? And I realized that we forgot to add one more message in our AI assistant. Let's add one more user role message. And this is what that's going to look like. So categories of carousel posts for social media. I'm using this time the join map function. The map function, it's nothing scary, right? Going back to this guy, from A, I want B where C is equal to D. And then the join function just joins all of that stuff. So we're grabbing the name right here. You can see from the AI prompts array, I want the name where the type is equal to category. Back in this table, from this array, which is just everything right here, I want the names right here where the type is equal to category. So grab boom, boom, boom. Grab these 3 pieces of text right here, and then we're joining them together, separated by commas, or I guess a new line. Yeah, we're separating that with a new line. So we have the map function, closed it off, semicolon, join each one of those names of categories with a new line, which just means hitting return once. And this is just for context because in our prompt right here that we're pulling from, it actually specifies to also categorize these things as well. Cool, let's hit save the entire scenario, run that one more time through and see what our output looks like. So it should be relatively the same, but the categories are going to show up differently. So okay, that one is for tools. This one is breaking news because OpenAI releases GPT 4.5, perfect. And then this one is tools again. So OpenAI Sora is now available in the EU and UK. That's actually pretty huge. I expect to see a lot of new content from these AI automation creators over in the UK now. But yeah, I'm glad that our categories are working right here. And especially this one properly categorizing the release of GPT 4.5 as breaking news. Now, what we want to do is we want to iterate over this new array. So these top articles array that we have from OpenAI, we want to iterate over that. So we're going to add the iterator module and then select the top articles array from OpenAI output. Iterate over top articles is what I'm naming this module. Now we want to do an HTTP make request. So make a request module. We're mapping in the URL from this guy right here. So map that in right there. And that's it. We're just hitting save on that. Let's rename this guy to get articles. And then all the content that it's going to return, all of the data is going to be in HTML. We want to turn that into just plain text. So we're going to use a text parser for this. Text parser, HTML to text, and we're going to map in the data variable into right there. It's as easy as that. Hit save. And let's add our next module, which is going to be an OpenAI module to write the text for our carousel post. So the headline, all of the slide text, and the caption text. create a completion. I always just delete the max completion tokens. And this guy I actually found through testing that GPT-4o latest is actually a really good option for this, and the quality of my posts went up. So GPT-4o mini, yes, it could handle it, but GPT-4o really just is the winner here. And it's not that expensive either. Cool, and this is what our prompt, or the text that we're inserting into the text content box for our prompt, this is what that looks like. So again, get map, we're using the get map function from our AI aggregated array of our AI prompts. I want the prompt where the name is equal to headline, slides, caption. I want to grab this guy right here. But this prompt is used the first time to write the text for headline and all slides and caption right there. So I want to grab this guy, and that's the function to do that. So, and then we're grabbing the very first item. An additional note, this I'm using right here is the get map function again from that array of AI prompts, from that AI prompts table. I want the prompt where the name is equal to this specific category, and we're pulling this guy. This time it's going to be a variable, because this guy right here, if you click on it, we're grabbing what is it? Is it the tools? Is it breaking news? Or is it, what was the other one? General? Yeah, general. And we're grabbing the very first item right there. Ignore all the links and noise, only focus on the article text itself, and then the article text I'm mapping in from the text parser, the HTML to text. I'm mapping that guy in right there. And this is going to be a JSON object as well. So toggle on advanced settings and select JSON object, and then parse JSON response as yes. Hit save, and let's run this once and see what it outputs. Now we may run into an issue right here. If the URL cannot be fetched or accessed, then we're gonna run into an error. That's why we need to incorporate some error handlers. We'll do that in a sec. Cool. So it finished the first bundle for the first RSS feed. Now it's working on the second bundle for the second RSS feed. So at the very end, we should see 6 outputs right here. Let's take a look at these outputs. For number 1, the result, this is the result. So we have headline, OpenAI plans to bring AI video to ChatGPT with Sora integration. Really cool. The slides array, we have all of the slide text right there. So OpenAI is working on blah, blah, blah. This move could attract more users to ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. And then slide 3 is always going to be a conclusion slide. And then the caption as well. And this is our caption right here with more information and its relevant hashtags. So hashtag AI, hashtag ChatGPT, and hashtag Sora AI. I would say those are pretty good hashtags. Let's give this guy a new name, write carousel post, and move on. Now we're going to add all of this information that we've gathered and rewritten back into Airtable and create some new records. So we're going to create a record, select your base and table. We're adding these to the content table, and let's start mapping in some variables. As for the project, I'm just gonna use the title that we grab from the RSS feed itself. The status, I'm gonna change this status to pending. Actions, publish date, we're gonna leave blank. Headline, this is what we're gonna start mapping in. So the headline from that. Slide, we're gonna map in the content, so like this. And I'll show you guys what we need to do with this guy because it's nested in, I believe, an array yeah, it's nested in an array. What we need to do is just copy this guy, this variable, paste, and in between these brackets, we're just gonna say slide 1 is always going to be 1, this one's 2, and this one is the third item in that array. And the caption should be its own right there. Original article text, we're mapping that in right there. Original article URL, we're grabbing this guy. Category. The RSS feed name is going to be from the very first module. So RSS feed name right there. No, this guy, name, and that should be it. And we're gonna rename that to create project record. Now we want to aggregate all of these steps from here on. We want to aggregate. So we're going to add an array aggregator. Source module is going to be this iterator module. So number 7, I believe. And let's go ahead and just aggregate all of the fields. We'll just select all. This way we only get 2 emails, one for each RSS feed that was processed through this workflow, which leads us to the very last module to add is send an email, because that's the way that I like to get notified. If you want to send a Telegram message or an iOS notification or Android or Slack, you can do that. I'm going back to my Airtable base, and then I'm going up to the URL. I'm going to copy the entire URL. So in the content table, I'm going to copy the URL. Can't see it on the video, but this is what I'm doing. I'm just pasting that in right there. So this is what my email looks like. I'm sending it to myself. This is the subject. Need new carousel post, needing review, and then new carousel post from, and then I'm mapping in this field right here from this array. So this array right here, I just typed in name and I'm selecting this very last name variable. That's the RSS feed name. Or I guess what I could do is I could map in this guy instead. That's a lot easier. So the name from the very first module. So from the OpenAI RSS feed, for example, it needs your review, 2 line break tags, view here with an arrow pointing to an Airtable link. So I can really fast click that, go in, review it, and then click a few action items and get on with my day. Rename. This guy is going to be notify me. Let's add a few error handlers. So this one, we're going to right click and add the ignore error handler. In case any of these URLs cannot be accessed for whatever reason, they result in an error, we want to ignore that and process the remaining bundles, the remaining URLs. OpenAI, right click, error handler, break, and we're going to say retry this. We'll say 3 attempts every, 90 minutes. It's not going to, sometimes OpenAI runs into issues with their API. So if their servers are down or whatever, we're going to do the break error handler and just say retry a maximum of 3 times every 90 minutes. And hopefully within that window of 3 retries, whatever an hour and a half times 3 is, what would that be? 4.5 hours? Whatever that is, hopefully within that time span, OpenAI fixes this issue and it will successfully run one of those 3 attempts. And you'll see this little red icon right there because in our scenario settings, we don't have this guy toggled on to yes. So allow storing of incomplete executions, toggle that on to yes, hit okay. And let's add that guy to this OpenAI module as well. Break 3 times at 90-minute intervals, hit save, reline everything, hit save. Let's run this once and see what it outputs. So we should see in real time our records propagating in our content table in our Airtable base. So you can see right here, it just added 1. If we go here, we should see if I refresh it. Let's just refresh it really quick. Oh, we've got 2 so far, sweet. And it's still working on it in the background right here. So let's take a look and make sure everything is mapped in correctly. We've got our project title right there. We have the headline text, slide 1, 2, 3, caption, the original article text. Let's see, looks like that guy, is that guy right? Let me double check this guy. Oh yeah, that's right. Because with this HTML2 text, that's why I'm saying ignore all of this noise with other links and other noise, and then just focus on the article itself. Somewhere in this, the article is there. So right here, it looks like it's a lot easier to just do it this way, feeding the entire thing to an AI to just parse out and only take into account the article text instead of working with regular expressions, which is just, it's my nemesis. I hate working with regular expressions. I just do it this way. It's the easiest way for me to do it. We've got the category correctly mapping in right there, the RSS feed name, awesome, and our Airtable records, or the record IDs, I should say. And if I go to my email, this is what that looks like. New carousel posts from the OpenAI RSS feed. Needs your review. View it here, click the link, it'll take me to Airtable. Sweet, that's it for part 1. Hit save. Now, what I would want to do for scheduling for this, let me just go over that before I forget at the very end of the video. Sometimes I forget to go over scheduling, so might as well do it right now. This is what I'm gonna do. So for this use case, because I'm grabbing from now and the previous 3 days, grab those articles, what I'm doing is I'm gonna select this to days of the week. I'm gonna say Tuesday and Friday every day, or every Tuesday and every Friday, kick on and run this scenario at, let's just say 10 a.m. Or I could do 9 a.m. That probably works better. Cool, 9 a.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays, kick on and run this scenario. Hit save. I'm not gonna toggle it on to yes, but as soon as I'm ready to turn on this system and let it run in the background for me, I'm just gonna toggle this on to yes. hit save, and then we're good. And my life's gonna be a whole lot easier being able to pump out this sort of content. In the name, I'm going to, because this is a two-part system, I'm gonna do one dot space for just to help me understand that this is part one of a system. And I'm gonna use this exact same naming convention, so 2 dot and then the name for the part two make.com scenario. Back in our building roadmap, let's go ahead and move on to part two. So we're going to set up rewrite routes. Cool, so head to make.com, open up another blank scenario. We're gonna name this 2 dot space and then RSS feed to carousel image post. I'm naming mine demo. And the very first module we're gonna want to add is Airtable watch responses right there. And we're going to create a new webhook. I like to just copy the name of my scenario and directly paste that into my webhook name. That's what I like to do. We're gonna hit save and it's going to generate us with a new webhook link right here, this URL. We're going to copy that, hit save. We're gonna right click, rename this guy to watch actions. And let's head back to Airtable really quick. So in our automations tab right here, this is data where you're gonna see all of your tables. Automations tab, this is where you have all of your additional automations. So I copied this from the test table when I was actually building this out from scratch the very first time, but I'll still walk you guys through setting it up, of course. Don't pay attention to these two right here for publishing. Let's just pay attention to this action selection right here. You're gonna see this just completely blank and you're gonna want to create an automation or add an automation. Go ahead and give it a name. So mine is action selection because what we're doing is we are looking at this column specifically in our content table. For any time this changes, then we're going to trigger this automation and send that record of that Airtable record to make.com, to our part two scenario. So add this trigger when a record is updated. So right here, that's the trigger type. When a record is updated, and then the table we're pulling from is content, the view is in progress, and then the fields, we are only listening to the actions column right there. Go ahead and add a conditional logic step right here. So if the actions is not empty, so right here, conditions, if the actions is not empty, then carry on with the workflow, which is all of these steps. We're nesting these two inside of this conditional block right here. We're updating the record status. That's our next step. So if it meets that criteria, if the actions is actually marked as something, then move on to these two steps. So update the record status. So action type, we're doing update record. The table is content. And then the record ID, we're clicking this plus icon. And then we are selecting the Airtable record ID right there. Mapping that in right there. The status, we are going to change the status column to in progress right here. We're going to change this guy to in progress. And this will just put the user at ease knowing that something is being done in the background. And I know that the automation's working. So I don't have to click an action, nothing changes and I'm worrying, are my make.com scenarios working in the background? I don't know. With this status change to in progress as the user, I'll be totally at ease, knowing that something's being done in the background. I just got to give it some time. And then the most important step is running a script. So you're going to add this script right here, run a script, and this is going to be our script right here. If you're copying this Airtable based on over into your organization, this will all appear for you there. If you guys want this script or any of the scripts in these other automations right here, these lengthy scripts, if you guys want those, then you can just hop over into the community and get them there. We're going to swap out this old webhook URL. So back in make.com, watch actions, we're going to copy that address right there and then paste that into our script right there. We're adding a variable, an input variable, and I'm just saying record, uppercase I, lowercase d, so record ID, and then the value, I'm adding the record ID right here. So when a record is updated, right, I'm grabbing from here, I'm grabbing that specific Airtable record ID, and it's already mapped in right there for you guys. And if I go back here, hit save, run once, and then hit test, I should be able to run a test right here. So let's just do the very first one, run a test, and it should say successfully sent. Cool, it ran successfully and we got that record ID right there. Let's go ahead and hit finish editing and we will toggle this guy to on. So now if we go back to our data, that automation will be running in the background whenever, just listening for when a record is updated in the actions column right there. So again, run once, back to Airtable. Let's change this guy to rewrite all, and it will update this to in progress, and nothing else will happen. Cool, now it's in progress and nothing else will happen because in make.com, it was only one step. I'm going to delete that and reset this guy to pending. I'm going to delete the first 6 right here, so it's not as overwhelming. Delete. That way we're only working with 6 at a time. What we want to do is we want to grab all the contents of that record. So we're going to add an Airtable get a record module, and we're just going to simply map in that variable. Let's select our base and table, and we just want to map in that record ID variable that we got from the watch responses module like that. Rename, I'm going to say get project record. Now we're going to be mainly working with 3 routes. One is going to be the rewrite route, one is going to be the image generation and regeneration route, and then the last route at the very end of this tutorial, we're going to do the scheduled post or the post now route. Before we start branching off into routes, let's go ahead and pull all of our AI prompts into our workflow, into our scenario. So again, we're going to do an Airtable search records module. Select our base, and the table is going to be our AI prompts table. AI prompts, formula, no formula, delete the limits, select all for output fields, hit save, save. Let's run this module only. You can see that it's grabbing all of our AI prompts right there. Rename, get AI prompts like that. And just like we did in part 1, we're going to aggregate the AI prompts right here, just like that. So array aggregator source module is going to be get AI prompts, and let's select all of the fields from that specific record and hit save. Aggregate AI prompts is what I'm naming this guy. Now let's start branching off into routes. So add a router, flow control router, and let's work on this very first route right here. We're going to add a label and a filter for this first route. The label is going to be rewrite because this is going to be the route that it takes when our action item has to do with rewriting any of the text. So if the condition, so the condition being if this guy, the actions right there, is equal to, let's switch that to contains case insensitive. If it contains rewrite at all, if it contains that word in the action, that means we're going down this route. Back in our table, if we look at our actions, how many rewrites do we have? So we have rewrite all, rewrite headline, rewrite caption, rewrite slide 1, 2, 3, and then rewrite all slides. We've got quite a bit. So let's add all of the routes to take care of all of these action items, with the very first one being rewrite all. I'm going to be referencing this and copying and pasting these values into our part 2 scenario in make.com because they need to match precisely. Again, another router, and this route is going to be rewrite all. So I'm going to paste that in right there. If the actions is equal to rewrite all, travel up this route. And let's just worry about this route right now. We're going to add an OpenAI create a completion module because we're going to rewrite all of the text. GPT-4o latest. We're going to add a user role, and this is what we're mapping into the first message. So this is text for a carousel post that I want to regenerate because I don't like it. The headline is this, the slide 1 is this, slide 2, slide 3, and I'm just mapping in these variables from the second module when we're getting the project record right there. Please rewrite with new content. And then we're adding message 2. Again, the role is user and the text content, this is what we're going to do. Again, using some get map functions. So get map from the AI prompts array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite all text. If we go back to our AI prompts table, this is what that looks like. From this array, from this table, I want to grab the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite all text right there. I want this prompt. So basically where those two meet, I want to grab this guy right there. Additional note, again, using get map, from that array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to the category. So this is just an additional context. So our category, let's say the category was breaking news. We're adding this text right here for additional emphasis. This is breaking news. Focus on, this is what to focus on. Focus on urgent developments, industry shifts, and critical updates, blah, blah, blah. It just makes our prompt even better. Ignore all the links and noise, only focus on the article text itself, the article, and then we're mapping in the original article text from module 2 from our project record. And of course, the output is going to be JSON response, object, parse JSON response. Why am I doing this? Because if we look at our prompts, not all of these prompts are outputting as a JSON object, but if we look at the rewrite all text, if we just click into this prompt and scroll down, we can see, yes, we are indeed needing the output to follow this JSON schema. That's why we're doing the advanced settings right here and selecting it to be the response format as JSON object. Let's rename this guy, rewrite carousel post. And then we want to update the project record with the new values. So update a record, choose your base, and the table is going to be the content table. And then we're going to map in these new fields. And what we do have is the record ID. So this guy, get project record ID, we can do that. But we don't have any of the variables yet because we haven't run it through. Let's hit save, and let's go ahead and just unlink right there and hit save one more time, run once, and go back to Airtable, to our content table, and let's rewrite. So let's rewrite all right here. So this is going to change to in progress, and then it's going to fire off that webhook in our part 2 scenario. So we'll wait, in progress, cool. We should see this run the script. It's going to fire off, do its thing, and now it is rewriting all of the content for us, and it should be in a new array, headline, slides, and caption, just like that. Cool, now we have the variables to work with. What we can do is we can reconnect this guy and map in those variables. So we don't need to change the project name. The status, we are going to update the status. We're going to reset that status back to pending because currently it's in progress all the way up to that point. We want to reset that back into pending. Action, what we're going to do, we're going to leave that onto map, and I'm going to insert an empty string right there to reset. The headline, we're going to map in the new text. So result, headline, slide 1, content, copy and paste this guy, paste. This guy is 1, this guy is 2, and this guy is 3. Caption. And that's it. We don't need to change anything else. Let's go ahead and hit save. Rename, we'll say update project. Going back here, if we delete that and then change this guy back to pending and do that all over again, let's make sure that we are listening. So run once in our part 2 scenario. Back in Airtable, we'll say rewrite all. It'll kick off, do its thing, rewrite everything, and then update these 5 columns right here. So the headline, the slide text, and the caption. We'll let it do its thing. Should be relatively quick, and we should be able to see it kick on in real time. Just like that, we can see that we have our newly updated text right here. Now going back to our part 2 scenario in make.com, let's go ahead and take care of this next route. The next route being, let's just take a look at our actions. Let's go ahead and do rewrite headline. Let's take care of that route. I'm going to copy that on over and give this new route a label, rewrite headline. If the action is equal to rewrite headline, travel down this route. And what I can do is I can hit shift on my keyboard, drag over these guys, Command C for copy, Command V, reconnect. Now what I need to do, let's not delete this guy yet, otherwise it's going to default to this filter and it's going to erase the filter we just created. Let's click into this guy, delete everything right here, and delete the filter criteria. Now we can right click and delete that module, and this guy will remain the same, this filter. Realign everything. Let's rewrite this guy, so rename, and we just need to change a few things. First message, this is the headline text for a carousel post that I want to regenerate because I don't like it. The headline is this, please try again with a new headline. And then we need to add a message. And our new message is going to be this. So using the getMap function from the array, from the AI prompts table, I want the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite headline. And then I want the very first item in that newly mapped out array. Ignore all the links and noise, only focus on the article text itself, article, and then I'm mapping in that variable of the original article text from the project record. And this guy is not a JSON object, so I just want text. Hit save, because if we go to our AI prompts and look at rewrite headline, we can open it up and see there's no JSON schema. We don't want to output as JSON. What we do want, the way that it's currently prompted, is give me 3 options to choose from, right? That way, I love building it out this way so that as the user, all I have to do whenever I want to change or modify the outputs, if I'm not liking the results, if I'm not getting the consistent results that I wish, it's probably an AI prompting issue. So I just need to go into the AI prompts table, find the prompt, change it here, and then it will automatically, the next time I push data through my make.com scenarios, it will reference the newly updated prompt. That way I don't even have to touch make.com. I just stay within Airtable all day long, change stuff, and it works. Going into the update record module right here. So these are going to remain the same. Status is pending. Actions, we're going to delete that and just do empty string. Headline, this is what we're going to do. Just map in the result right there. And we did not update the text for these slides or the caption. So we can delete those, hit save, and we're good. Let's run that once. Let me show you what that looks like back in our content table. If I were to rewrite the headline, again, it'll kick off, change the status to in progress. It puts the user at ease knowing that, okay, it's being taken care of in the background. Cool. Let me just give it a sec. And then it will get back with 3 more headlines to choose from. So I go in, cool. So it looks like OpenAI is adding AI video generation to ChatGPT. Sora is coming to ChatGPT so users can generate AI videos directly in conversations. OpenAI plans to merge Sora with ChatGPT. Let's do number 2. I like number 2 better. So we'll delete everything else just like that, and we're good. And I like to prompt it this way to give me 3 additional headlines. I could make it 5 if I really wanted to. That way I'm not just doing it one at a time. It just eats up too many operations. If it's just giving me the next headline that maybe I don't like, okay, let's try that again. It's gonna spend some operations and some AI tokens, get back to me with potentially another headline that I don't like. Great, now I have to go back to actions, and it just repeats the process. With this, I just take care of everything in one go. I know I need to click in to double check the headline and look at all my options, delete the ones I don't like, and it just saves me time and money that way. The next route we want to add is for rewriting captions. So back in our actions, we can double click on that, rewrite caption. We're gonna copy that on over, give this new branch a label, set up a filter. If the actions is equal to rewrite caption, hit save, save, auto align, and let's copy and paste these guys on down. Rename, rewrite caption. Now we need to go in and change the AI prompt right here. This is what we're going to paste in for the very first message. So this is a caption text for a carousel post that I want to regenerate because I don't like it. Caption, and then I'm giving it the reference to the original caption. Please try again with a new caption. And then down here, let me delete this guy. We need to change this guy. Cool. So from the AI prompts array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite caption. Grab the very first item. Additional note. From the AI prompts table again, from that array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to the category, that specific category. And then I want the very first item. Ignore all the links and noise, only focus on the article itself, article, and then I'm mapping in the article text. And again, I don't need this to be as a JSON object because I think I'm asking it to just rewrite the caption. I'm not nesting anything in an array or following a specific JSON schema. Update project, and we need to delete this guy and update our caption with the result. And that's it. Hit save. Now, our next action is for all of the slides. If we go back to here, we can see rewrite slide 1, 2, 3, and all slides. These are the last remaining routes that we need to generate. So we're only going to create 2 routes to take care of all of these guys, and I'll show you how to do that. Add a route. Let's rename this guy to rewrite slide parenthesis S. So rewrite slide or slides. If the actions is equal to, then we're going to copy these guys. Rewrite slide 1, 2, 3, or all slides. If the actions is equal to rewrite slide 1, or the actions is equal to rewrite slide 2, or actions equal to rewrite slide 3, or, and then the last one, if the actions equal to rewrite all slides. So let's just copy that right here. Copy, paste, save. then travel down this route right here. And we need to add 2 routes right here. The first route is going to be rewriting a single slide. So we'll give that a label, rewrite a slide. If the actions column is equal to rewrite slide 1, or the actions are equal to rewrite slide 2, or the actions is equal to rewrite slide 3, then travel up this route. If this one's going to be rewrite all slides. Let me just copy it on over, make sure that equals. I guess it doesn't matter for the label, but if the condition actions equal to rewrite all slides, travel down this route right here. And let's copy and paste these guys on down. So Shift, drag, Command C, Command V, link it up, and delete this guy. Save, and right click, delete. This guy's name is going to be rewrite carousel slide, and we're going to do 2 messages for this one. This is going to be the very first message. This is the text of each slide for a carousel post that I want to regenerate because one of the slides I don't like. I wish to regenerate the text of only, and then we're using some if statement right here, some if logic. So if the actions right here, if the actions variable is equal to rewrite slide 1, semicolon, then return slide 1. Return this text right here, slide 1. If the actions is equal to rewrite slide 2, then return slide 2. If the actions is equal to rewrite slide 3, then return slide 3. And I'm closing off each if statement with their own close parentheses, comma, because I don't like it. So what this is basically going to do is I wish to regenerate the text of only slide 2. Because I don't like it, right? Because the action that I selected is rewrite slide 2. To give it context, headline, here's the headline, here's the slide text for all of the slide text, so it knows what all the other slides in headline is. Please rewrite the new text from the slide I don't like, or for the slide I don't like. And then message 2 is using the getMap function again from the AI prompts table. I want the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite slide. And then I want the very first item from that map function. Additional note, from that AI prompts array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to category, just for additional context. Ignore all the links, blah, blah, blah. Here's the article, original article text. And I don't want this as a JSON output. Let's hit save, because back here in the AI prompts table for rewriting a single slide, this guy, it looks like I just want it to, again, give me 3 options to choose from. So we're going to update that. We're going to use some if statements again. If the actions, right, if the actions variable is equal to rewrite slide 1, then in the slide 1 text field, input the result from this OpenAI module. We're going to copy that guy, paste, and then change this guy to slide 2 and slide 3. So whatever I choose in the actions column, if it's for slide 3, it will only map in the result that this guy outputs back into and update slide 3, and it'll leave these 2 other slides alone. Almost done with all of the rewriting routes. The last one is to rewrite all of these slides. So we're gonna shift drag over this, paste them down here, reconnect everything, right click. Let's set up this guy, delete, right click, delete. Rewrite all slides. Cool, we've got that already configured. Realign. Let's rename this guy rewrite all carousel slides. The first message, this is text for a carousel post that I want to regenerate because I don't like it. I like the headline, but I wish to regenerate the text on each slide. Here's the headline, here's all of the slide text. Please try again with new text for each slide. And then the second message, again, with the getMap from the AI prompts array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to rewrite all slides. Get the very first item. Additional note, from that AI prompts array, I want the prompt where the name is equal to category, rewrite, or grab the very first item. Ignore all the links and noise. Here is the original article text, and this guy is going to output following a JSON schema. So we're switching the response format to JSON object and then parse JSON response as yes and hitting save. Now, we don't have any variables to map in right here yet because we need to feed some data through. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me first delete all of those guys, and we'll rewrite all of the slide text. Hit save, run once, back in Airtable, in our content table, actions, rewrite all slides. It'll kick on, do its thing, and we should see that everything resets because I forgot to unlink these guys right here, which is totally fine. That doesn't matter. These guys will reset, but nothing will change yet over here. Now that we have these variables, we can map in the slide text right here, all of those. So slide 1, content, paste, 1, 2, 3, and hit save. Now let's just go through every single one of these routes and make sure that they are working properly. So hit save, run once, or let's go ahead and just toggle. Yeah, let's just run once and let's make sure that everything is running properly. We'll go through each one of these rewrite actions. So first one is rewrite all, and then update all of the text right here. So that one's working. Now let's go ahead and just quick rapid fire. Let's toggle this on to immediately and then back out one step so we can see it in real time. Back in Airtable, let's do all of the remaining actions for all of these guys. So rewrite headline for that guy, rewrite caption for that guy, rewrite slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3. And then this guy is going to be rewrite all slides. So we should see all of this is kicking off in real time. You can see all of these concurrent running scenarios. And then if everything goes well, we should see, cool, that one is updating and that one is updating. Cool. Looks like everything is working properly for us. Back in our roadmap for part 2 make scenario, we just set up the rewrite routes. Let's check that on. Now I'm going to show you how to build out, because we want to build out our Placid templates before we start building out our part 2 scenario. So I'm going to show you just a few pointers. I'm not going to show you absolutely everything. Setting up these Placid templates is probably going to be the most time consuming part for you. So I want to give you just a few pointers to help speed up that process. In the long run though, you guys, spending the time up front to generate all of your library of templates to pull from, it's going to save you so much time, because now that you have that in place, yeah, you spent maybe several hours doing that. Now from here on out, twice a week, you just hop into this Airtable base and then click a few buttons, spend maybe a minute or two tops, and then you're just consistently pumping out this quality content to help you establish yourself as an authoritative figure in your industry or niche. Okay, so in Canva, this is where I generated everything before. Again, this is why I said Canva is optional. It's just the easiest, and I love this tool. So the aspect ratio that Instagram now uses is 4:5, or 5:5, no, it's 4:5. So 4 right here by 5. You'll want to create a project with those dimensions, and then you can just use tools like Unsplash, or is it Upsplash, Pexels, Pexabay, or something like that. All of these, make sure that you're using photos and images, of course, that you actually have the rights to use. Or you can find some images that are, if you have access to the Canva Pro subscription, you can pull the images from here and use those as well. So I just have a bunch that are just general AI, right? And then I get into robots, right? To maybe if an article is on AI agents, it'll probably choose these guys, these robot looking guys right here. And then it starts going into specific brands. So I have a few for OpenAI. I have a few for DeepSeek, for Claude. And yeah, I'm just creating these images, some with mockups, and then I'm throwing a background behind everything. Here we go for DeepSeek, and then we have some for Grok and XAI, Perplexity, Claude. And then I also have 10 slide images. So it's just this rectangle box with some rounded corners and then a cool looking background in the back. I really like these two right here. And the way that I'm setting up these guys, so I have the background image, right? And then I just looked up black gradient rectangle or something. And it's this element right here that you see right here. You see that guy? So Command Z, and I'm just pasting that in. I'm using the rule of thirds. So if I Shift R, I have my guidelines set on. Again, I'm not trying to go into too much detail here, but in case this is useful for you guys, you can stick around and see how I build out these designs. If you're not interested, go ahead and skip through the video. I'm trying to basically replicate this style of carousel post. So it's got these lines right here with their logo or that page, right? With the headline, the news headline right there. And it's all blacked out right here. And then it slowly fades into the image right there. The best way, in my opinion, is to build it out with human touch points, where I'm actively selecting these images to map in right here. So they're not just basic templates, but honestly, I'm getting really close with this version 1 system already. So with the version 2 system, I'll probably add some human touch points where I can actively go out and grab images to pull from and make my content stand out even more. And it's still mostly automated. So if you can see right here, that's kind of the style that I'm looking for. I've got my logo. I've got these thin lines right here. These thin lines are set to a line weight of 3 in case any of you guys want that. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. This rule of thirds, in the bottom third is just the headline, and then it gradually just goes into the main image. And I guess it deleted the Perplexity logo. Let me just go ahead and add that guy back in. Now over in Placid, this is what my dashboard looks like. What you'll want to do is you'll want to actually create a project. So in your Placid projects, you'll want to add a new project and then select API and make.com and create the project. It'll take you to a page. Let me go to my project. It'll take you to a page that looks like this, and you won't see any templates right here. It'll be completely blank. You'll need to create your first template and then go to custom size and then select the aspect ratio. Change these to, I think it's, what is it? 1350, whatever 4:5, whatever that aspect ratio is, change that to those dimensions right there. And then you start building. So let me just go in and edit this Perplexity one for you guys really quick. This will be blank when you create your first template with the correct aspect ratio. So it's 1080 by 1350 in case you guys are wondering. Go ahead and give it a name. So you can give it a name up here. I'm just naming mine Carousel 56. I probably should have been a little more intentional with my names. So headline or featured image, that's probably what I should have done. Featured image 1, featured image 2. It's just a big pain. Maybe I'll have to, when I find the time, I'll go back and change these names, but I was duplicating all these records, and Carousel 51, Carousel 52, that naming convention stuck for my featured images. Anyway, it'll be blank. It'll be just a white brick. What you want to do first is add an image layer, a picture layer. It'll show up like this. You'll drag it up to the top corner and just cover your entire image like that. Boom. And it will show up as a new image layer over here. And then you can upload, so download, export all of those files from Canva or whatever tool you're using and import them one by one per template into right here. So insert that. If I were inserting this guy, I would insert that image file, the PNG or JPEG file, into that box right there, and it would show up right here on this image layer. Let me go ahead and delete this guy though. How do I delete this guy? Oh, trash. Cool. So I've got that Perplexity. You can see I've got that on image layer, new picture layer, I should say. And then you'll want to add a text layer. So add a text layer, a text box will appear. Oops, Command Z. It'll appear right here. And just click and drag to fill up this space down below. I've already done this with this text layer right here. It's called new text layer. You'll want to be very careful. Honestly, my recommendation is don't rename these guys, or if you do rename the text layer and the image layer, it's mainly the text layer that you need to worry about. Make sure that you're using the exact same name for all of your other templates. It needs to be the same across the board, otherwise your automation is going to break in the background. Here's a few pointers for you guys when setting this up. So I anchor this text to the very top and I center it right here. I change the spacing to slight and resizing to fitty. So no matter what the character count is that you're mapping into this text field, it will, if it's too much for the desired size and spacing, the font size and spacing, it'll automatically shrink it down to make sure it fits within that box. So you don't need to worry about that. Mine's just white, and I imported some custom font right here. So this Bebas New or Bebas No, whatever that is, I imported this custom font that I found on the web. It was just a free one, but you can go through and select different fonts that they have available. I think I really like the condensed. Anything condensed gets a very similar look. So just type in condensed, right? So Barlow condensed bold is a good one right here. That one looks just as good. And the default text, if you want to take a look and see what it would look like, I'm just mapping in some default text into the default text field. If you have this, if you're to this stage already, you can just go to this, right? So OpenAI is adding AI video, blah, blah, blah. Go back to Perplexity. You can paste that in right there and see what it would look like. Now you can leave this text. That's what I prefer to do. You can just leave it in your template and hit save because these fields are dynamic. So whenever you're mapping into this template some new text, it's going to override the default text and insert your new text. And plus, I just like having it so that when I go back out, so hit X and go back out, I can see what it looks like. It gives me a better understanding of what it's going to look like, each template. To create these as fast as possible, then go ahead and hit the drop down arrow on that first template that you build and hit duplicate. And that way you don't have to start from scratch every single time. All you have to do, so if I hit duplicate and we name this guy carousel, 57 that I'm on, hit enter and go into that. So click edit. All I have to do is click on this image layer and then trash the image and upload my new image. That's all I have to do. Hit save and then go back out and duplicate some more. As for your slide images, follow the exact same principles. Upload your image layer and then a text layer, select your font and everything. And yeah, you should be good to go there as well. Back to our roadmap, I just showed you the Placid templates, how to build those out really quick. Now I want to show you guys what you need to do to add these templates to Airtable. So back in Placid, you can see these template UUIDs right here, these ID tags. What you're going to be doing from here on out is basically just copying one by one. I wish there was a simple export option to just export all of these into a CSV so you could import them directly into Airtable. Maybe there is, and I just don't know where to find it. But back in Airtable, you're going to want to go to the Placid Templates table. I've already created this myself. If you've hopped into the community and copied this base on over into your organization, it should be as easy as just deleting or inserting the template IDs and the descriptions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then uploading, if you want, for context, to make it easier just to see your example images, you can upload those as well as attachments and then change your name. So I guess, yeah, you're just updating these 4 columns really. Go ahead and these are all of the names for your templates, example images, template IDs. So again, in Placid, you'll copy this guy and then go back here and paste it in the template IDs column. As for descriptions, this was also kind of just a little bit time consuming. I went to ChatGPT and I uploaded 5 images. So I uploaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these plain images at a time to ChatGPT. And I was like, hey, I need a short 1-sentence description of the image that you see. Each image, give me a short description. And then it would just 5 by 5. I just went through that process. This one, for example, this is the description that it got back. So it's a close-up of a computer circuit board with a central AI chip prominently labeled, blah, 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 right? And then we scroll down, we can see this one, right? This guy with OpenAI. This is a glassy 3D icon featuring the OpenAI logo, symbolizing cutting-edge AI innovation. This column is really important for us because as we're building out, I'll show you in just a sec as we start building out even further the part 2 make.com scenario, we're going to be referencing this column with an AI assistant that is selecting the top 5 or the top 10. I think it's the top 5 templates out of this whole library and select the top 5 most relevant to our post. And then we're going to randomly choose one of those 5. So it's really important that you have this description column as well. Status, again, if you want to pull something out of, so like this one, for example, this guy is a little tacky, to be all honest. This guy, I don't really like it. So I'm just going to pull it out, and that way it's not going to be put into rotation. But maybe in the future, I want to put it back into rotation. Featured image, yes. So this featured image column, these guys with carousel 1 through 56 or 55 is going to be yes for featured image. And then slide image, these guys down here, I have 10. These are used specifically for just slides. So slide 1, 2, and 3, I've got 10 of those, and I'm making sure that the status or the slide image column is set to yes on those as well. And again, if I want to take a slide image out of rotation, I have that option. If I don't like this one, I can take that out of activity and it won't be fed through the system. But I kind of like all of them, so we'll keep all of them active. And as time goes on, you can create new templates. I should probably add some more for Perplexity. I should add some more for like Gemini, maybe some for Meta, just all of these big dogs. But yeah, this is a good start. I just showed you how to add those templates into Airtable. Now let's go back into part 2 and wrap everything up, or I guess not wrap everything up. Let's go to the next step. And this one, we're going to be setting up these image creating routes. Okay, so back in make.com in our part 2 scenario, we're going to build out this second route down here, which is the image route. This is going to be for either image creation or image regeneration. Let's go ahead and label this route images, and we'll set the condition if the actions variable contains case insensitive the word image, or if the actions variable contains case insensitive, so image or images, then go down this route. And then back in our content table, let's take a look at our actions and see what routes we need to build to take care of all these actions. So looks like there are 4 routes that we're going to be building. Let's start off with route number 1, which is creating all of the images. So the headline and slide images. Let's copy that on over and let's add a route right here. So add a router. First route label is going to be create all images. If the actions is equal to create all images, travel down this route. Hit save, realign. Now the very first module we're going to add in this route is going to be Airtable search records, and we're going to be hitting up the templates, the Placid Templates table. Select your base, and then the table that we're going to be pulling from is the Placid Templates table. We're going to select all of the output fields. The formula will come back to that. Delete all of the limits because we want to grab everything that meets this specific formula. This is our formula. So we want to grab where the status is equal to active, comma, space, open curly brace, where the featured image is equal to yes, where both of those two statements are true. So that's why we're encapsulating both of these into the and right there. So and open parentheses, and then status is equal to active, comma, space, and then it goes on. So this is what we're doing, Placid Templates, where the status is equal to active and the featured image is equal to yes. That's essentially what we're doing. So if those two meet that criteria, grab that record. Let's rename these guys. So we'll just say get templates featured image like that. And then we want to aggregate all of that. We're going to use a text aggregator right there. Source module is this guy right here. And this is how we're configuring this. So make sure go to advanced settings, and we're going to separate all of these with a new row. So that's going to be our separator. And then the template ID, I'm nesting the template ID variable from this guy inside of the trim function, just in case when I was copying over these template IDs, there's some added spaces before or after. We just want to make sure that we're trimming off all of that extra space. That's what the trim function is. If we hover over it, it says it removes space characters at the start or end of the text. So this happens sometimes when you're copying text over from other applications. Sometimes randomly, you'll just have like a few extra lines that are blank. You don't know that they're actually there, but they're actually there, and it'll break your scenario when we're trying to make an API call to Placid in this use case. And I'm also doing the same thing for description, and then one more row. So hit save. Let me show you what that looks like. So run once, run anyway. Going back to Airtable, changing this guy to, let's see, we're doing featured images. So, or we're just generating all the images, I guess. So generate all images. It'll go down this route right here, and I'll show you what this aggregated text looks like, because we're going to feed this aggregated text into an OpenAI module. Altogether, the long string of text looks like this: template ID, description, template ID, description. So this template ID is a friendly robot holding a cardboard box in a warehouse, symbolizing AI in logistics and automation. In case our post is somewhat related to that, then we're going to tell our AI to basically include that in the top 5 to choose from. Add a new module, OpenAI, create a completion. And this guy's really good if we just use O4 Mini. So GPT O4 Mini, add a message, role as user, text content. I'm going to change this to our array. I'm just copying this stuff over from my, when I was originally building this out. Just makes it a little more quick. So get map from our AI prompts array. I want the prompt where the name is equal to choose top Placid Templates, and I want the very first item. So it's grabbing this prompt right here in the AI Prompts table, choose top Placid Templates. It's grabbing this prompt right here. And looks like we're following a JSON schema. So it's picking the top 5 templates that are ideal for that post. And yeah, for the featured images. So we're gonna toggle on advanced settings, response format, JSON object, parse JSON, and yeah, we're good there. Hit save. Oh, I guess we need one more message. We actually need to feed in the template IDs and descriptions so that has context to choose from. So we'll go ahead and add a second message. So add a message, and this is what that is. So here's the headline for the featured image, and then here is the template library with their IDs and descriptions. And what this AI is going to output is only the IDs. We'll say top Placid Templates. And now from that array or that list of top 5 Placid templates, we want to randomly select one of those. We're adding the tools set a variable name, we'll say random ID, and then the variable value. These are the functions we're gonna use. And before that, I just realized we need to actually feed some data through to this guy right here. So let's unlink this guy, run once, go back here, and we'll just create all images for this guy. And that's gonna run into an error or it's not gonna properly work because we have 3 headline texts right there. I guess it'll still work actually. It's just not ideal, right? At least we'll have the variables to choose from. So result, top Placid Templates, and it has all of the top Placid ID, template IDs that are best fit for that headline. Reline everything, variable random ID, variable value. We're going to use the first shuffle, open parentheses, these 2 functions right here. So shuffle from the top Placid, top templates array from OpenAI, close parentheses, close parentheses. So it's going to shuffle randomly this array, and then the first function is just going to pick the very first item. So if you hover over that, it says returns the first element of an array. Hit save. I'm naming this guy random ID featured image, and I'll rename this guy back here aggregate templates. Now what we want to do is we kind of want to do a similar process, but we want to get all the templates for the slides, and we want to randomly select one of those. So again, Airtable, search records, select the table, Placid Templates table, output fields, select all of those, and then here is our formula where these 2 things are true, where the slide image column is equal to yes, and the status is also equal to active. So right here, where the slide image column is equal to yes, grab all these, and also the status equals active, grab all of those records. Limit, we're gonna delete that. Because if you set a limit and you're adding more slides into rotation, if you set a limit to 10, any slides that you add into rotation from here on out, they're not gonna be pulled. So we just want that number to be infinite. And then we want to aggregate all of those. So array aggregator, source module as get templates, slides, and then we will select only the ID right here. Or sorry, not the ID, the template ID. Let's scroll down, template ID. So we only want to grab this guy right here. That's the only thing we want to grab and aggregate that. Hit save. And then lastly, let's clone this guy, bring him on over here. Random ID, we'll rename this guy random ID for slide image. Hit save, and we will change this guy to this new array. Hit save, and we're good. The next module we're gonna want to add is this HTTP make a request module, and this is how we set it up. In the URL, we're accessing this endpoint right here, the images endpoint inside of the Placid API. So this is the URL. The method is post, authorization for the header, and then the value is bearer, space, and your API token, your API key. To find your API key, go back to your project, right? Go back to your project you made in Placid, and then go to API tokens right there, and you'll be able to find your API token there. Copy that, and then you're gonna paste that on over. So bearer, space, and then paste in your API token right there. Body type is raw, content type JSON, application/JSON, and then this is the request content. So this is our JSON. We're we're mapping in the template UUID with the random ID variable from random ID featured image, the one that we just shuffled and then selected at random. And then also we are, because this is just for the featured image, we have to do each image creation one at a time. I wish Placid allowed us to bulk create all of these images at once, but we have to make multiple API calls. So this one is specifically for the featured image. And then I'm nesting inside of the new text layer, right? Because we didn't rename these text layers. If you did rename your text layers, creating your Placid templates, then you'll need to make sure that that text right here directly matches the name of your text layer. That's why I said it's super duper important to make sure that your text layers are all named the exact same. So I just let it be new text layer. That's just the default. I'm nesting the headline text, this variable from Airtable, inside of the trim function, just in case I forget to delete any spaces. I'm just nesting that inside the trim function. And then we're setting the parse response to yes. And then making sure that this guy at the very top, you'll have to toggle on show advanced settings for parse response. And this guy, evaluate all states as errors, toggle that on to yes as well. So because I don't want to have to reset my API token for Placid, I'm going to paste it in now, but I don't want to show you guys. Now what we can do is we can clone this guy. So clone him on over, and we will change the name to create slide one image. And this is what we're going to do right here. So everything else is the same. The only thing we need to change are these two variables. So the random one is random ID for the slide image, and slide one text from this guy. So slide one text right there, just like that. Hit save, and let's clone him and move him on over. Rename to slide two image, enter. Oops, I guess I just deleted it. Rename slide two, and then reconfigure. So again, we're using the exact same random Placid template ID, but we're gonna change that to slide two text. Hit save, and then lastly, clone, rename, slide three image, go in and change the text to slide three text. Slide three text variable, just like that. Realign. Let's go ahead and run this once so that we have the variables that we need to update our Airtable record. So we'll say run once, go back to Airtable, go back to our content, and let's do this guy again. So let me just delete him and delete that guy, change it back to pending. So we only have one headline, and I think we only have the slide text for, did we rewrite any of these? I don't think so. Yeah, so we only have one slide text and then our caption as well. That looks good. Let's go ahead and generate all images for this one. And let's delete this guy. Pending. And then we will be able to see it kick off in real time. And what takes the longest is these guys right here. So it already randomly selected, or already selected the top 5 posts that are most relevant to our image. And then, oh, and it looks like we ran into an issue right here. Let's take a look. Oh, so it looks like the template was not found. Let's take a look and see what went wrong. Oh, okay, I know what went wrong. So we needed to feed this, through to get this variable, so template ID. What we need to do is, this guy doesn't exist. It's nested underneath this guy. So it's not random ID, it's actually this guy. So random ID, template ID, like that. So let's copy that, actually. Hit save, and we have to do the same for number 2 and number 3. Let's run that one more time, and then go back and select create all images again. So in progress, it'll fire off, do its thing. This part is really, really fast, and then this part is what takes some time. Generating the featured image right now, and then slide 1, 2, 3, and yeah, it's not gonna be back in Airtable yet because we just needed these variables first. Let's take a look and see at the data. Let's take a look at our featured image. So if we go visit this guy, we can see it selected a proper image because it's OpenAI. OpenAI is adding AI video generation to ChatGPT with built-in Sora integration. Looking pretty good. And then if we look at slide 1 image, data, go to the image URL, go to that. We can see that it selected this guy. OpenAI is bringing Sora's AI video generation directly into ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. Sweet. So now we just need to update our project. Airtable, update a record. The record ID is going to be from this guy. Status, we're going to change the status back to pending. Actions, we're going to reset the actions with empty string. We're not going to do anything with the text. What we're going to be doing right here is inserting the URLs for the featured image and slide images. So featured image URL, going back to the star, we can pull that right here. So featured, create featured image. Let's grab the image URL right there. Slide 1, do the same thing. Create slide 1 image, image URL. Slide 2, image URL. And slide 3, image URL. Cool. Hit save, rename, run once. Let's go back to Airtable and let's do that same one again. So create all images. It'll fire off to its thing, change it to in progress. Cool. It's generating all those images. At the end, we'll update our row. And these buttons right here, so these nice, clean looking buttons will highlight for us to click. So reset these columns and we can select featured image. Looks like it randomly selected that one. And our slide images also appear to be working. Slide 2 and slide 3. Cool, cool. Now the easy part, now that we've built that out, it's really easy for us to just copy and paste this stuff down over into these routes down below. So it'll be a lot quicker for the remaining routes. So back in our actions, the next one we need to take care of is this guy, regenerate featured image. Let's go ahead and add that route. So, whoops, I don't need that guy. Label, regenerate featured image, condition if the actions are equal to regenerate featured image, travel down this route. And what we're gonna do is we're going to copy, shift and copy these guys, paste, connect, and let's delete him. Hit save, right click, delete, realign. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to add. So this is actually really, really important. This is what we need to add into back in this route. So the first route, the route we were just on, create all images. When we're updating the project in this Airtable module, we need to add the IDs that we used for the slide image. And so last used featured image template ID and last used slide template ID. So we're going to map in the random ID featured image and random ID template ID for the slide image right there. So this is really important. Hit save. This is really, really important because let me actually just copy these guys over. So the random ID for slide, I'm going to copy that and paste it in right here. This one's for the slide. And then this one, I'm going to grab this guy for featured image, last used featured image template ID. So this is really important because when we're regenerating stuff, we want to make sure that we're not putting the exact same, how do I say it? When I come to Airtable, right, and I go to this featured image, I don't like it, right? Let's regenerate the featured image. I don't want to put this specific one that I didn't like back into the rotation and by chance get this exact same output. So that's why I have the last used featured image ID and template and slide template ID as well to make sure that the next time I'm regenerating stuff, that doesn't get thrown back into rotation. Back here onto this route now, regenerate featured image. All we have to do now, we've copied these guys down. What we need to do is copy this guy. So clone, bring him down, creating the featured image. And then we also need to clone this guy, bring him down, connect. This route, the only thing we're doing is regenerating the featured image right there, regenerate featured image. You'll see this icon right here because the variable no longer exists. We need to pull from this guy. So random ID right there and hit save. And then this guy, we need to remap in these variables. So slide 3, we're not doing anything with slides on this route, but we are doing the data from this guy. And this one doesn't exist. We still need to feed data through. Last featured image used, delete that guy. And let's delete the slide one and map in the random ID right there. Hit save. Let's unlink this and run this once. Go back to Airtable. And what's the action we're working on? Regenerate featured image. We'll do that one. Watch it kick off, do its thing. That way we'll have the variable to grab. Sweet. Let's reconnect everything, and that variable should be present for us to map in to the featured image URL. Image URL, like that. Hit save and realign everything. Sweet. Now we need 2 more routes. Let's go ahead and add those. Next one, action items, regenerate all slide images. Let's copy that, give that guy a label. If the actions is equal to regenerate all slide images, travel down this route, and might as well take care of this guy, regenerate all images, copy that, regenerate all images. If the actions are equal to regenerate all images, travel down this route. Now, this one is just dealing with the slide images, so we can ignore these 4 steps initially, and we can just copy. So get template for slides. So we can just shift, drag that on over, and copy the entire thing, and paste that guy down here, reconnect, and realign. And we don't need the featured image one on this route, so we'll delete that guy, realign, and we can delete that, realign. Cool. So this is getting templates for our slides, right? We don't need to change anything here up until, and it looks like we don't need to change anything here as well. Because I guess I selected a whole line that was unbroken, it knows to dynamically change this new variable to pull from module 39 now. So 39 random template ID, that will be fine. It's light, it's not filled in right now, but once we feed some data through for the very first time, it will show up in color. So what I'm basically trying to say is that looks perfect. Hit save, but we do need to update this guy. Featured image URL, delete that guy. The data, right, for the image URL from slide 1, again, it's doing the exact same thing. It's pulling from 41, which is correct, 42, 43, those 2 are correct, and then the random ID for the featured image, let's delete that guy. 39 random, that is also correct as well. So hit save, and we're good there. Now, I just remembered we do need to add 2 filters. Back here in the regenerate featured image, right here in this filter, we're gonna say all but last used, and then we're gonna map in this template ID variable is not equal to the last one used. So last used featured image template ID, we're gonna map that in right there. It's going to our template library, and it's grabbing all of the list, our entire list of template IDs and their descriptions, but it's only gonna filter out that one template ID that we just used, because the reason why it's traveling down this route in the first place is because we don't like that template ID that we just used. So it's gonna pass all of the template IDs that don't meet that criteria. All of the ones but the last one used. Hence the label all but last used. Hit save, and we need to do the same thing down here. So all but last used, the condition, the template ID is not equal to, but instead of the featured image, we're gonna do the last used slide template ID right there. Hit save. And the last thing we need to do is this guy, regenerate all images. We already created that label with its filter. Hit save. What we can do is just shift, drag over all of that, copy, paste, and we will reconnect everything. And we need to delete this guy. Save, delete, realign. Cool. And everything should be configured except for these filters. We still need to insert these 2 filters down here, right there. But then everything else should be configured properly. So again, all but last used, if the template ID is not equal to the featured image last one used. So last used featured image template ID, hit save. And then this one, get slide templates, label all but last used. If the template ID from this module does not equal last used slide template ID, hit save, then pass on all of the other slides. Because this one is regenerating all images. I didn't like anyone. I didn't like the featured image or the slide image that you chose. Go through the system, but don't use those same ones that you just used. Cool. Hit save, realign everything, and let's take this for a spin. So we already tested out, I believe we already tested out the first one. Let's go ahead and test out all of them though. Let's back out of this because it is on right now. Let's do create all images for this guy. It'll kick off, do its thing, and run down this route. Now let's do our next one, which is this guy. What I need to do is I just need to go in and let's just delete these guys. Make sure that these are looking good. Cool. Cool. And the caption. Cool. We'll just wait for this guy to finish off doing his thing. There we go. So featured image, looking good. Slide one, looking good. It created all the images, great. Now let's regenerate the featured image. Let's let it kick off, do its thing, and it will travel down this second route right here. And if we go back to Airtable, we'll just wait for it to finish off and we'll see our new featured image. So our new featured image is this one. Cool, cool. Our slide images are the same. We haven't touched those yet. Let's go ahead and change that action item. Regenerate all slide images. Kicking off, doing its thing, and traveling down this third route, generating slide 1, 2, and 3. Cool, good stuff. Let's see what slide it chose. Awesome, looks like that's doing good. Now let's try the last route, regenerate all images. Cool, it's doing its thing, and it just finished. So let's take a look at the featured image now. Cool, went with that one. Slide 1, awesome. So we know everything is working. Going back to our roadmap, we can select that item as done. Now we need to set up our posting routes. So taking care of these action items for post now and schedule the post. Here's how I like to do it just to save on a couple operations. We don't need basically from here on. So because of that, we're not going to add another route right here. We're actually going to route right here and add, I like to do 2 routes for this use case. We're going to add those guys down here because we don't need the AI prompts. If we're just posting everything, that means everything is good. We like the text. Fire off, do your thing, and post to Instagram, but we don't need AI prompts or anything else for that matter. So we're going to save on 2 operations. This route is going to be labeled post now. The condition, if the actions are equal to post now, then travel down this route and post to Instagram. So we're going to do Instagram. You need to have an Instagram business account to do this. And we're going to say create a carousel post. I've already made my connection. And the files, this is what we're going to do. We're going to add 4 items. So 1 for the featured image and then 3 for the slides. Media type, we're going to say image. And then the cool thing with this is you can map in the photo URL, the image URL from Placid. You don't need to be downloading the data directly into make.com. So you'll just want to make sure that you're choosing the correct variable here. So photo URL, we'll make sure that we're selecting from the correct location. We're not, see these guys right here. So featured image, label, URL, slide 1 image, label, URL. Don't pull from these labels right here. I was running into an issue before when testing this out and it was just not working. So you need to make sure you're pulling from the actual URL columns. So these guys right here, not these guys, but these guys right here, these columns, we're going to pull directly from there. So if you scroll down just a bit further, you'll be able to see those. So featured image URL, cool. Next one, media type, image, photo URL is slide 1. Next one, image, photo URL. This one is slide 2. And then the last one, image, photo URL, slide 3, image URL. Caption text right there. We're going to map that in and then hit save. It's as simple as that. And then we're going to go back to Airtable and update our project record to posted or published. Record ID, pulling from this guy up here. Project, no. Status, we're going to change the status to published. Actions, we're going to replace the actions column with an empty string. Now this second route, I like to separate these routes. It just helps me stay a little more organized. That's how my brain works. This guy's going to be for the scheduling route. So I'm going to label it schedule post. And if the actions are equal to schedule post or the status is equal to scheduled, then travel down this route. And we're going to add a router right here. This first route right here is going to be labeled update status. And we're going to say if the status variable is not equal to scheduled, then travel up this route and basically change the status to scheduled. So we'll clone this guy, bring him down here, delete, update project, change the status to scheduled, and delete the actions. Hit save. And the last route is going to be publish. If the status is equal to scheduled, then travel down this route and post to Instagram. And what we can do for that is just shift, drag, copy, paste, realign or connect, delete these guys, hit save, right click, delete, realign, cool. Then post to Instagram and update the project. This is pretty self-explanatory. If the post now, if the actions are equal to post now, so back here in my content table, if I go over here to actions and I say post now, it's self-explanatory. It just goes down the route and posts to Instagram. But let's say I want to schedule my post. Now this is just how I go about doing it. At most, I'll probably be posting 2 of these per day at most. So for that purpose, I'm going to have these views over here. So remember I told you I'd get back to these views right here and these filtered. So this view right here is in progress. So when I'm working on the projects until it's ready for posting, it's going to stay in this view right here and it's filtered by the status. So if the status is empty or the status is one of these options, pending, in progress, or error, and I'll get to error for the very last step of this build, then stay in this view right here. Once it is set to scheduled, then appear in this calendar right here, this calendar view, so I can view all of my posts that are pending schedule, right? Or pending posting. And then once they're published to Instagram successfully, update the status to published. And my filter right here is whenever the status is published, show all the records right here. And this is an old one, so let me just delete this guy for when I duplicated this base in testing. So I'm building out 2 automations. So in the automations tab right here, I have a publish AM and a publish PM automation. The publish AM, let me show you how I have this set up. So let's say, I guess first, let's say I have this publish date. I schedule this to be tomorrow, March 1st at, let's do 9:30 a.m., right? So this is how I have it set up for my automations. It's not going to actually post at 9:30 a.m. the way that I have it set up. I don't know if there's a better way or somehow to actually schedule and get precise posting times. There's probably a way somehow in Airtable. I just don't know how to do it yet, but this is something that works for me. At every day, it's starting off with this trigger at a scheduled time. So days, every one day at 10 a.m., kick on and find records that meet a certain criteria. So every day at 10 a.m. starting today from here on out, trigger this workflow and then go out and find records. So this is the next step. So find records in the content table, and here's the condition where the status is equal to A, scheduled, and the publish date is also today. So the publish date has to meet that criteria. It has to be today, right? If it meets those 2 criteria, grab that record, and we're going to be sending that record or records, if it's multiple records, to this workflow, right? Just like we're using the script, just like we're using a script back in the actions selection, just like we're running a script right here. So sending all that data to this webhook, the record ID, we're doing the exact same thing. Again, we're running this script, but it's also checking for one thing. So in this script, it's a bit more complex. Inside of this conditional block right here, if the records list of Airtable record, so this guy, is not empty, so meaning it actually found records. So if there's actually a value here, so a record ID, then run this script. And this is what the script looks like. All I have to do are 3 things. I'm pasting in the webhook URL right here from make.com. From this module, I'm pasting that guy in right there. And I'm adding these 2 variables right here. So record ID, right? So name, record ID, and then I'm finding the record ID from this guy right here, find records IDs. So use data from this record right here, find records, or that, I guess, module, I should say. And then I'm going down to Airtable record ID right there. And then my next input variable is publish date time. And then the value for that, I'm going to plus, and then again, use data from this module. And then I'm scrolling all the way down to the very bottom, field values, and then I'm going to publish date. So you can just type in publish date and just insert that value right there. Boom. And it's going to be pulling these 2 input variables into this script, which is basically grabbing the records, this one is specifically for AM. So if I have multiple posts scheduled for the same day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon or evening, both of them are going to meet this criteria right here. So if the status is scheduled and the publish date is equal to today, grab all of those records, whether they're for the morning or the afternoon or evening, and send them to this script. And this script is going to be filtering out all of the PM posts and only sending the record IDs for the AM posts. And then in the next automation, the script is going to be very similar, but it's going to filter out any posts that are in the morning, so the AM. And it's only going to grab any posts that meet that criteria for the PM and send those through for posting. The only thing you need to change in this script, if you guys want this, go ahead and hop over into the community. And as you're importing this Airtable base into your account, all of this will show up for you. You just have to make sure you're changing the webhook URL right there. Finish editing, turn that to on. Every day at that time, it's gonna kick on and run through all of that logic. Now, as for the PM post, right, this is what it looks like. So every day at 4 p.m., this is how I have it set up. Every day at 4 p.m., kick on and run. Find any posts that are set to scheduled and where the status is scheduled and the publish date is today. When it meets those criteria, then run this script. And the script, this is what the script looks like. It's a little bit different, right? Now it's just filtering out if there's any AM posts. And you'll just need to make sure that you have this, again, the webhook URL, copy that and paste it in right there. Make sure you change that. Now that I'm thinking about it, honestly, you might not even need this script because every day it's gonna kick on. And if you have an AM post and a PM post, the first time it kicks on at 10 a.m., right, in the morning, it's going to grab those AM posts, hopefully it's just one, and post those to Instagram. And then the status will change to published. Technically, you might not even need this script now that I think about it, but for now it works. So we'll just say finish editing, toggle that on. So that way what happens is, right, let's just say I want this to post, it's the last day of February. I want this to post tomorrow on March 1st at 9:30 in the morning. Go to actions and then schedule the post. It'll kick off, do its thing. It'll change this status to scheduled and it'll disappear from view. So in progress, scheduled, and we'll see it in the calendar right here. Boom, just like that. And as soon as the automation in Airtable runs, and also I guess the part 2 scenario runs, it'll kick off, do its thing, change the status to published, it'll disappear from the calendar, and it'll show up right here in this view. So what happened there when I scheduled it, it kicked off, did its thing, and it traveled down this route. And because the status was not set to scheduling yet, it was just in progress, then it traveled up this route, set the status to scheduled, and that's what happened. Next time it runs, it's gonna travel down here and post to Instagram. Let's go ahead and post in real time, make sure everything is working properly. So I'm gonna select this one, the GPT 4.5 news, and I'm going to go to action items and I'm gonna say create all. But let's first go to the headline image, or let's go to the text and make sure we actually like all of this text right here. So let's just expand this. OpenAI releases GPT 4.5 with enhanced chat capabilities and fewer hallucinations. Yeah, I think I like that headline. Slide 1 text, OpenAI launches GPT 4.5 in research preview, calling it their best model for chat yet. Slide 2 text, GPT 4.5 improves conversational abilities, understanding of nuances, and has reduced hallucinations. If I want to, again, yes, this is all automated and just repurposed content from AI, but if I really want to, maybe I can use my brain, the brain that I have, and add on to this, right? If I also want to add on another sentence, or if just reading that out loud or in my mind sparks my imagination and I'm like, no, I have a better way of saying that, I can just delete this whole thing and then type in the text that I want, right, from my own brain, and then get on, right? It doesn't have to be just AI generated. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But that one looks good. And then slide 3 text, let's go here. While not a frontier model, GPT 4.5 enhances real-time reasoning and creative writing skills. And then the caption we can see right here, OpenAI has unveiled GPT 4.5. I like to say announced. So OpenAI has announced GPT 4.5 in research preview, calling it their most advanced chat model yet, improves conversational understanding, enhances creative writing and coding, and reduces hallucinations compared to earlier models, blah, blah, blah. And then it has our hashtags AI, ChatGPT, and OpenAI. Cool, cool. I like all of that. Let's go ahead and generate all of the images right now. So actions, create all images. It'll fire off and do its thing. And let's take a look and see what images it pulled up. Cool, cool. Honestly, I don't really like that image. I don't even know why I have it in rotation. I think I was just trying to mass produce a lot of templates really quickly, but I like the slide image that it chose. So I'm going to regenerate the featured image to one that I actually like. Currently in progress. Awesome. Let's take a look and see which one it got. So I like it. Let's go ahead and post now. So just in my actions column, I don't need to schedule it or anything. I just say post now. It'll kick off, do its thing, and we can go to my Instagram, go back to my profile, and it'll kick off, do its thing. It's going to take some time though to run through the Instagram API. So let's just go back and make sure. We'll just watch for this to change to publish right here, or change the status to published. And then we can go back to my Instagram and refresh and take a look and see what it looks like. Cool. So that was actually pretty fast. We can see that it's now in the published stage, which is awesome. I can go to Instagram, hit refresh, and we should see my post right here. We've got the image, we have the text for all of this, and then we also have our caption right here. Looking pretty dang good. Now back in our building roadmap, we took care of part 2. So part 2 of the make.com scenario with the posting routes. We set up the posting automations in Airtable. These are the scheduling automations. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have our error handlers in place for part 1 and part 2 of our make.com scenarios, and then wrap up with maybe some final testing, which honestly I just did. I tested everything out. Now we just need to go through and add some error handlers. We already did that for part 1. You can see right here, these 3 error handlers. I only do it for OpenAI modules, anytime we're making HTTP requests, API calls, of that sort, to using these modules right here. I don't really have any issues with any other modules like Airtable and all that stuff. Yeah, Gmail, I could add error handler routes, but I don't want to because I have never run into any issues with their APIs being down. What we do want to do in part 2 scenario though is we want to add error handler routes to all of these AI modules that you see right here, and these Placid modules, as well as these Instagram modules. So I'm gonna show you how I go about doing that. And yeah, let's just dive right into that. But we've already tested out every single route so far, everything but the scheduling route, but I know that one works. So we're just gonna leave that one alone. That's the last thing we need to do is add some error handlers and we're all good. So let's get that done. In our part 2 scenario, let's go ahead and add our first error handler route. Let's right click, add error handler. We're going to say commit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add, so we're going to clone this guy. We're going to add that guy right there. And this is how we're going to configure it. We're going to change the status to error. We're going to delete the actions with the empty string, keep that the same. We're going to delete these guys right here. And then inside of the error message field, so the error message field right there, this is what we're going to map in. This is the message that's going to display in our Airtable base. So we'll just say error with OpenAI, return, and then we'll map in the message, return, and the detail, the error detail from this OpenAI module, and then hit save, realign everything. So that's our first error handler. That's basically what we're going to be doing for all of these guys down here. So what we can do is we can right click, add error handler, commit, right click, add error handler, commit, and do the same for, we'll take it one route at a time. So we'll do all of this for the rewrite routes, and then the Placid routes, and then for the posting route. So add error handler, commit, realign, last one, error handler, commit, realign. And then let's clone this first guy, the first error handler update project module. And we just need to, we can be more specific in our error message. So error with OpenAI trying to rewrite headline text, right? We could be a little bit more specific so we know what went wrong in the background if this ever does fail. So we'll hit save. Oh, and what we do need to do is we need to delete these guys because these are referencing the wrong module. So message, return detail, save. Right click, clone, drag them on down here to this route. This is error trying to rewrite the caption, and we will just change the text. Error with OpenAI trying to rewrite caption text. And then delete, message, return, detail. Hit save. Clone, bring them down here. Error with OpenAI trying to rewrite slide text. Delete, and then these are just some further details as to what went wrong. So that way we can just stay within Airtable, you guys. If this, right, let's say in progress, we hit an action, it changes to in progress, it hits OpenAI, it runs into an error, it goes through the error handling process, it updates this guy to error, and then we can scroll over to the error message column right here and take a look and see what the message appears to be. Maybe it's just that the service is down, right? That way we can know, okay, I'll just come back and try again later, right? Or if it's something else like the parameter is missing or something like that, maybe we know, okay, something went wrong. Maybe someone went into our make.com scenarios and changed things around. We need to go in and fix it. So we have all of our error handlers in place for the OpenAI modules on the rewrite route. Now what we need to do is add them for the OpenAI modules on the image generation routes, as well as tie them to the Placid generation modules. So right click, add error handler, commit, right click, error handler, commit. We'll just do this for all of them. Reline everything. So do you see how it's kind of just every single error handler that we add, it's just like making it into an absolute monster. So that's why it looks a lot more intimidating in the beginning when you're looking at this stuff, but this is why it looks that way. It's because of error handlers. So we can clone this guy. We'll change the message to trying to select top templates. And then delete, message, detail. Save. Reline. Cool. That's basically what I'm going to be doing for the remainder of this build. I'm not going to include it in this tutorial. I'm just going to wrap it up really quick. And if there's anything along the way that I feel like I need to add, I'll go ahead and add it in this video. And then we'll just conclude everything, wrap everything up, and we should be good to go. With the Placid, when we're adding the error handler message onto these Placid modules, these HTTP make a request modules, you're going to see the exact same thing. They're just not green anymore. They're blue. So message and detail, we can just map those variables in right there. So error with Placid trying to create featured image, because that's what happened on this module if this were to run into an error. Cool. So I just added all of the other error handlers in place. So I'm using commit error handlers on purpose. The reason why I'm doing that, let's say I go to my actions and I say, rewrite the headline, right? I rewrite the headline, it tries to rewrite the headline and it breaks. Let's say I have that set to break, right? Meaning it retries 3 times at intervals of 90 minutes, right? There's an issue there. Let's say in the meantime, I rewrite the headline or I land on something that I like, and in the background, it's still trying to attempt to rewrite that headline, right? If and when it successfully runs through and I already have a headline that I like, because in the meantime, I just came up with one on my own, or I went to ChatGPT and did it really fast, it will come back in and update the headline that I landed on that I actually like to a new one, right? Or in this case, it would be 3 new headlines, because that's the way that we have it set up in our AI prompts. It would erase any progress that we have. So I'm doing commit on purpose, those error handlers, so that we don't run into situations like that in the off chance that that were to happen. Back in part 2, this is what it looks like. I've just got commit error handlers for all of those, for the AI modules, for the Instagram modules right here. And I'm just updating that to error with Instagram trying to post, and then the error message and details, again, using the commit error handler. Hit save, and you can allow storing for incomplete executions as well. Toggle that on to yes in your scenario settings. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this part 2 scenario. This is going to kick on. If I toggle this on, it's going to kick on every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Send some data through. I'll get notified. And then all I have to do is hop into Airtable, proofread some headline and slide text and caption text as well. If I like everything, I generate the images, right? Go through the whole process. In all honesty, I'm not going to be posting all of these. So I'm probably going to be selecting 2 tops that I actually like. I'll generate the images for those and then schedule them for posting or post them immediately. And then I'll just go over here and check that on and delete any records that I just don't want to do and get on with my day. Lastly, just want to emphasize this. If you want to add any RSS feeds, you just add records in this RSS feeds table. So if you want to process 5 different RSS feeds, you can add 3 more records right here. If you want to do 10, that's an insane amount. Maybe that's what you want. The AI prompts right here in the AI prompts table, we've got the way that I have it set up. You don't need to add anything. If you do want to add categories, you can add some categories, but all the other prompts are taken care of. If you want to tweak your prompts and let's say you want to choose the top 5 articles that are most relevant to your audience, you can just go into this prompt and change this to top 5 articles. And then right here, top 5 articles. And then let's see, all the spots, top 5 articles, 5 articles, 5 articles, and then make sure that your JSON schema reflects that as well. So you're just updating the AI prompts right here and it'll dynamically change in the background and nothing's gonna break in make.com. Or if your AI prompts are correct, right? Let's say you want to choose the top 5 articles, but then your JSON schema, you don't change that. This JSON schema is set up to only grab 3 of the top articles. So it might get confused there and it might break. So you just want to make sure that you're being careful with all of that stuff. And yeah, you're gonna need to add your own Placid templates and IDs into the Placid templates table right here. But beyond that, that's basically it. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure that both of these are on in the background. So this is on immediately as data arrives. That way you don't have to come in and manually process and say run once, right? The whole purpose of automation is so that it runs in the background 24/7. The only thing you're going to be doing is getting notified in an email whenever you have new posts and then approving stuff in Airtable and getting on with your day. So again, if you guys want both of these make.com blueprints, so this guy and this guy, as well as the Airtable base. If you want to copy all of these templates, I make it super easy for you guys over in the Automate What Academy Pro community. I have access to all of my templates in the template library with full breakdown tutorial videos. Go ahead and find the link in my bio and come join us. I have a lot of other exclusive templates inside of the community that I don't have here on YouTube. Thanks, guys.